Hi there, Libra. Welcome to your December 2016 forecast. Congratulations on making it through the year. It's been a very eventful year, both in politics and world events, but really we're here to focus on you. And one thing that I've had a lot of people write to me over the past few weeks, actually, really the past month has been the busiest that I've had, with questions and concerns over how the world's changing, how they deal with issues that are coming up with their family or conversations. One thing I wanted to encourage everybody to exercise as if it were a muscle, because it is basically your capacity for empathy. Because when I look at the way things are being handled in the media, and it doesn't matter which side of the fence you're on certain things, I think that we could all use a bigger heart. And so my purpose here is to leave all of that stuff outside of the fence here. We're here to help you, but I know that that also affects the way you're feeling. So what I'm going to try to do is encourage every sign this month to put themselves in someone else's shoes before they speak. Listen, ask questions for clarity, and I think if each of us do this, we're going to be better like human citizens of the world, because regardless of the boundaries of states, of citizenship, of nationality, we're all the same. It's all just sort of like clothes that we put on, and we shouldn't let it define us. So that's my message of hope for all of us, and I really think that the more we can use our heart and our ears, and the less we sort of use our mouth, the better off we're going to be. So that's my hope for everyone this month, and we'll see if some messages of understanding, of compassion, of connecting on an empathetic level come through in the cards. But if not, I want to encourage each sign to be loving, listen, ask questions, allow another person to talk, and without a doubt that will make your life better as well as the planet better. All right, now into our reading. Your channeled information for this month is paradigm shift. It wasn't just a word, it was literally a complete shift. And being that Libra is such a expansive sign that can kind of see things from a bird's eye view, this is a big deal, but I think it's something you can handle. So basically, as we are on the sort of border of 2016, 2017, what I'm really seeing now is a chance to take your life in a new trajectory. We'll look at that when we see your destiny card, but big shifts can be happening for you, particularly the year of 2017. I'm getting that that's going to be a major game changer for this sign. But let's see what December is going to bring in first. All right. For those of you that are new to the channel, welcome. Every month I will expand the forecast to include health, wealth, love, and destiny, but I always like to start just with whatever wants to come through, and that's why I allowed for those 4 areas. That way, if there's a big focus on one area, I just let it kind of take its own shape. Let's go ahead and pull a catalyst card, and again, for those that are new, this is how you want to jumpstart the month. A lot of times, this card will connect to every card on the spread and on the table. So, all right, the first thing is this sort of infamous indecision card. With this, what's important for you, the way you can affect a major shift in your life, like a paradigm shift, if I can grab this paper here, is by being very decisive. There's 2 things you probably have to do. 1 is be decisive. 2, take some calculated risks. But what this says is I use my intuition in all aspects of life. So if we take the indecision out and just replace it with the idea of inspiration, intuition, and I haven't been talking about the colors, but the colors do align on this month's cards to a chakra. So your indecision is probably coming from security. This is the first and second chakra that this color is sort of encompassing. So that has to do with safety, security, and power. And so less power, more the safety and security. So I want you to work on asking yourself, what is it about your sort of current working or living situation that may not make you feel comfortable or secure? What can you do to improve that? And then if that were taken out of the equation, what would you do with your life? And that's going to help open up what you want a little bit easier. And once you know what you want, the dominoes fall in place. We talk about that a lot here. But if you don't know what you want, then you do tend to amble around. So with Libra being such, again, an expansive sign, an air sign that can can flow and do so many things, sometimes it's important to sit down and make a decision. So I'll try to help you with that this month. Let's see what the cards say. First of all, we have the Moon at the center, which is not a bad card. It sometimes gets a bad rap, but with this card, what I see is a great month for tapping into creativity. The Moon is sort of for me, it's like a well of ideas, of artistic expression. And what can happen a lot of times for artist types is you can take the pain and make it something beautiful. Now, there are other connotations to this card, which are basically that you may want to, or you may feel yourself pulling back from talking about difficult heart-to-heart conversations where, you're afraid of hurting feelings, or you don't want to dig into an emotional issue too much because you're afraid of what it might bring up. So seek out friends, seek out therapy if that's something that you need, but know that it doesn't always have to be something that you fear. Once you sort of face your fear, you may find that it's not as bad as you thought. The other thing that comes up with this card is to avoid competitive engagement. So if you're at work and people are kind of getting territorial, or you might experience someone who's trying to, take your job or beat you at what you're doing, this is something where you have to decide, how much do I want to fight? Is it worth it? Or should I put my energy and efforts elsewhere? The advice for this is really to take it easy and let that other person possibly just run themselves out of energy, because sometimes a challenge is just a challenge and it doesn't necessarily go anywhere. Temperance is saying, don't worry so much, keep consistent and focused on your own agenda, and don't worry so much about what other people are trying to do to either take you off course or make you doubt yourself. I feel like many of you have felt either pulled back a little bit or frustrated. Like maybe you've been waiting forever for something to happen, a relationship to sort of bloom, possibly a job to come through, or a big opportunity to materialize. So I actually love this Hanged Man because it's very clear that no movement is happening. It's almost like a coffin or sepulcher. But what I see with this is that, yes, I view it more as a germination period. You notice that this person is against the tree, as all hanged men are. But what this is saying is, this is your chance to germinate, think, and wait before acting. Money is something too that many of you may be stressing out about, either because you're having to put out a little bit more. I've seen this as a trend across all signs, by the way. It's not just Libra. But either because you've had to save or spend unexpectedly, or because you're looking for something that can bring more safety and solidity to your life. Now that we know and understand this indecision card, I think some of it could be coming from you're not sure what you can do that's going to sustain yourself. The first thing that I see is that many of you are in a place where things are actually not bad. The Six of Pentacles shows having enough, maybe even a little bit more than enough, but it's all about the decision-making process, what you're going to spend it on. Are you going to spend it on movies, on food, on gas, on entertainment? If you make the right choices, you should be okay. But I do encourage you to continue to save more than spend this month, and that also is a common theme across cards. Five of Swords showing that this is a month, if there's something that you really, really want in your life, this says you're going to have to work hard, and it may not happen this month. That doesn't mean it won't happen, but that means over the course of the next 4 or 5 weeks, you're just going to have to consistently show up, do your work, and have faith that it's happening. The fire's still burning here. There's still a lot of energy. You just have to keep it kindled, keep showing up, and keep sort of giving life to that. As I look at your ego card, we have King of Cups in reverse, which shows that this month is punctuated by highs and lows with emotions. You may also have a very challenging water sign in your life, and if that's the case, possibly a Scorpio, because the Moon card is assigned to Scorpio. If that's the case, be very careful around that person and just decide, how much energy you want to put into it. It seems like they probably need a little bit more from you than you're willing or ready to give, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. You just have to, again, figure out if that's going to work for you. I want you to avoid critical thoughts and critical speech towards yourself, or if others are sort of directing that speech towards you, try to divorce yourself from that. And also be very cognizant of any sort of persistent aches or pains in your body, especially if it's an acute pain. because for me, when the Ace of Swords is in reverse, it can be like a pinched nerve, a slipped disc, or some sort of an internal shift that needs to be taken care of. So if that's the case, go to the doctor. Usually this can show a little bit of fatigue, and it can actually be mental fatigue, not necessarily just physical. Ace of Wands sometimes for me is more physical. Ace of Swords can be more mental. And so this could be exhaustion from work, arguments, conversations, or just not being able to express yourself. So depending on which one of those you're feeling, the important thing is to try to neutralize, express yourself, and then also if there are people around you that aren't allowing for like free-flowing ideas, to walk away from that situation or to get help, have someone step in and help you out. I see things gradually improving for you when it comes to money and finances. We have delayed success when it comes to work or with your savings. Three of Pentacles is a very favorable card, but I want you to really look at who you're getting your advice from. If you've been sort of looking stuff up on the internet and figuring things out yourself, maybe it's time to ask for help. If you've been going to someone and you're not satisfied with how everything is looking, how much your portfolio is performing or whatever, it might be time to talk to a new accountant or a new wealth manager or whatever you're doing. But it's time to reassess, because you could achieve a little bit more with a few small tweaks, so make sure that you're happy with it. The other thing that I'm noticing with this card is that one of the opportunities that might be opening up for you is a teaching role or a public speaking role. Now, as an air sign, this should be something that you can do well, but if I notice a little bit of hesitation here, so this might be something that you grow into. Don't be afraid of it. Your final card for this month is the Emperor card. And so when we end on a card this strong, it usually is something entrepreneurial or management related. So for some of you that are in a corporate job or in any sort of job, you might be asked to step up and do a leadership either role or opportunity or be transferred into a new job. For others of you, this is saying, you know what, I'm really ready for self-employment. And if that's the case, you have to be ready to sort of like go at it full force. So don't start it until you are, and maybe take a look at your finances. I think you need to have at least about 9 months saved up. And it's probably going to take you about that amount of time if you decide to break out on your own. Pardon me. Yeah, the only thing holding you back this month is money. And the other thing is being patient with the amount of time that things are taking to happen. So stay persistent and consistent in your work ethic, and that's going to be what pays off for you. I'll summarize all of this in a moment, but the next thing that I want to look at is specifically tune into your health card for this month. I noticed that there could be some mental fatigue, possibly just some frustration on how things are going, and then that will manifest itself maybe as a migraine or just exhaustion, general exhaustion. It's funny, this card came through for another sign. So mental fog, feeling veiled, feeling like you're out of the loop. I'll give similar advice to you, which is do things that will from a dietary perspective, create a clearer mind. So avoiding whatever toxins you might consume recreationally, whether it's alcohol or some other drug of choice, making sure that you reduce that, and then trying to do other things like getting ample sleep and possibly doing meditation or any sort of healing that's really going to help with your mental fog. The other thing, and people don't think about this that much, and it comes through more for your sign, is and I think it's because Libra can be very almost like a sponge. You can absorb a lot. Be careful of what you listen to and what you watch. So if you're watching a movie and it's extremely violent or it's extremely negative, so this could even be like a horror movie with really dark undertones, maybe violence or just darker things. Ask yourself, why am I doing this, and what effect is it having on my psyche? Does it? I heard Oprah say this once, and I believe it. It's hard to unsee something that you've seen. So when we put things into our brain, we're kind of imprinting them forever. They may go latent, we may forget some of the details, but everything that you consume has a lasting impact on your mental faculty and also on your soul. So think about that, not to get too heavy, but if you're listening to really depressing music or watching movies or shows that are creating anxiety or negativity, I would stop that this month too, so that you can clear your head of the toxins that you're putting into your body, and then also the toxins that you're taking in through the other senses in your body, if that makes sense. All right, let's take a look at your wealth and career. Awaiting results. I think that sums it up based on what I've seen with this. The Hanged Man is definitely showing some impatience that's coming through for many of you. So the good thing about this card is it's not a permanent state. This is something that will gradually improve, and I see springtime as being when these results come through. Springtime in the Northern Hemisphere, which is probably going to be about March. So just to clarify for those of my friends that are in the Southern Hemisphere or in Oceania. So with this, basically, if you're just patient, we're looking at really about five to 6 months of growth opportunities for you with work. So just stick with it, and June, July of next year promise to be very good for you. As we look at your romance and your relationships, let's see what the message is. Chemistry. So for business relationships, the number one important thing is not just do you want to work at the company or do you trust this person, if you're trying to bring in a new partner, if you're looking for an agent, or if you're trying to see who it is that you want to work with. You need to feel good in the environment, and you need to feel like they have your back. It's just as important as do you like where you're working. So I want you to work on chemistry this month with people, creating new partnerships, you need an advocate. We have enough adversaries. An advocate that will be there, that someone at work or in your home life that you can go to with difficult conversations, that has your back and really wants to help you out. If you don't have that, that's when, as I said earlier, maybe you need to seek out maybe a professional advocate, whether it's a coach, like a life coach, or a psychologist or psychiatrist, and see if they can help you through some of this. But make sure you feel the chemistry in that regards. Otherwise, when it comes to love, your deciding factor should also be, in that first 5 minutes, do you feel a connection? It's an intuitive thing, not just chemistry, not just pheromones. There's actually something that happens with your aura, and you're sort of feeling out the other person's aura and seeing, do I vibe with that? Does it work? And if it does, great. If it doesn't, honestly, the older I get, the more I kind of am able to know in the first few minutes if this is going to be a good engagement sometimes with a new person in my life. I get like an immediate positive or negative vibe, and then I wait and I get more stuff. But usually that first vibe, I can look at someone and know this is going to be a great experience. So I don't want you discounting things, but this month in particular, pay attention to that little whisper in your head, which is wait, or yes, do it, whatever. Follow your intuition. I think it'll put you in a really good trajectory. Speaking of trajectories, let's take a look now and see where you're headed. Give us a little bit of idea where 2017 is going, but also where this month is going. So, love this. This card is saying that try not to do everything yourself. If you have people that can help, then by all means delegate and ask for help. And some of that can be achieved when you actually have advocates and you have good chemistry with coworkers. You could just say, hey, could I get some assistance with this, and then maybe I can help you out with this, and you can trade tasks, and depending on what your role is, you can get rid of stuff, or you can talk to your boss and say, I'm overwhelmed, or I need some prioritization. What would you like me to focus on first? I want to make sure that nothing falls by the wayside. So anyway, you need to communicate and delegate when possible. Ask for help if you don't have the ability to delegate. Let's summarize everything, which it looks like a very good month for you. Your channeled information was that you're entering what's going to be a paradigm shift between 2016 and 2017. The biggest shift is happening next year, probably in June and July. When I looked at your catalyst card for this month, it was to decide what it is that's holding you back from a security standpoint. This is usually a fear of being able to pay the bills, being able to live in the same place, a job. It's one of the basic essentials that we need to sort of take care of ourselves. So whatever your safety concern is, work through that And that's going to help open you up so that you can do what you need to do and make a change if you need to make a change. Creativity wants to come through. Utilize that in December. Try to avoid unnecessary conflicts. Stay as even as possible. It's going to suit you well. Your financial situation is a little tentative until the end of the month. So watch spending, make good decisions, and prioritize your own budget, and take an opportunity if it comes to you that's going to bring in new money or new stability in your work situation. Really pay attention to any acute pain that exists in your body. And when it comes to your emotions, it could be tricky to stay motivated. I want you to work hard and don't lose sight of your goal. It's going to happen, but it's not happening in the immediate future. It's something that looks like it's more June and July, unfortunately. But that's not as far off as it seems. For some of you, there's a really good chance that you could start to plan your own sort of independence, a new job, a new sort of self-employment opportunity. But what I saw for that as well was needing to have 6, 7, 8 months saved up. And if you don't have that right now, then you have to hold off on that. And just to expand your forecast, avoiding toxins, not just of the sort of like consumable type, but also anything that you're listening or seeing, making sure that those toxins are eliminated so your mind can clear out. For wealth, patience. Possibly 6 to 7 months worth of patience, but something that's really going to pay off if you're patient. For all relationships this month, pay attention to your intuition and the chemistry that you feel with someone. In the first 5 minutes, you should know if this is going to be what you want to be involved with, whether it's a love relationship, a friendship, or a business endeavor. And speaking of business, but also even in your home life, don't be afraid to ask for help. Delegate if you can, otherwise ask for help. So not a bad month at all, and not a bad start to next year. It looks like there's going to be some major shifts for you, probably in the area of work. Work and money is what I'm getting the most of. I didn't sense a lot of new relationships coming through, FYI, not this month. If anything, I see you possibly pulling back a little bit from people that might need too much. But if you do decide to date this month, just make sure that you're not being sort of dragged around by the other person. This should be something where you're creating clear boundaries and possibly being the one that calls the shots with the Emperor card. And there could be an age difference as well. Emperor usually comes when there's a significant shift, like 7+ years. At least 5, but usually 7 up to 10. So if there's a big age shift and you feel a connection, great. This card sort of is aligned to a bull, which I would assign to Taurus. So the only sort of possible love that I see coming in is really at the end of the month. Earthy sort of energy, possibly a Taurus. So other than that, I think you have all that you need to have a successful December. And I want to say thank you, really, from the bottom of my heart. It's been a very fun journey over the past couple of years to be able to be with you every month and talk about what's coming through and hopefully give you guys the tools you need to have a very, very prosperous year. If you want to stay in touch, please feel free to like and subscribe. The subscription will let you know when new videos are posted. But I also have a newsletter, and if you want to join that, Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, my page is on those social networks. Feel free to do that, and I'm very good about uploading a comment at the beginning of each month so that you know that everything's available. Other than that, I just want to wish everyone a really fantastic holiday, and I hope that you get what you want and that you're ready for all of the challenges that come your way. Satnam, be kind to other people. Remember to listen and to think before you speak. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in January. Happy New Year.